Man, I had a tough time trying to figure out like how to make this video, what direction to go with it, how to organize it. I have so many thoughts on the topic, and most of it comes from a place of like passion and excitement. And it's tough for me because I just want to say shit and get it out there. So what I think I'm going to do is rewind a couple of years through a little bit of a story time. I think everybody, for the most part, remembers around when ChatGPT was released, what you were using it for in the beginning. And that was basic, like clean up my grammar, write me an email. Can you research this for me? XYZ. A lot of the same stuff that the mainstream is kind of using it for still to this day, with way fewer errors, way few hallucinations. Thought it was cool, and I started to do a lot of research on like other tools that were out there that were implementing AI. First ones that I came across were Opus.pro and Pixels. You might be familiar with those tools at this point. They've gotten a lot better since when I originally discovered them, but that's kind of the point of the story right now. Opus.pro is this website where you can just drop a YouTube link, and within about 5 minutes, it'll cut up 20 short form clips of what it thinks are the most engaging pieces of your long form video. It'll caption it, it'll style it, it'll design it, all that kind of stuff. Pixels is kind of like that, but with thumbnails. You can describe a thumbnail, you could use inspiration from other thumbnails, you could throw your face into it and it'll like swap your face into a thumbnail, whatever. It was like really, really powerful tools in theory at the time, but there was still something like very off with them. You could tell like when you were doing it, you're like, oh, it's so close, but it's actually causing me more work than it is helping me, to the point where it's like, it gets there, but then I just need to fix a bunch of shit. Or I spend all my time paying them money to be like, no, this was wrong, that was wrong, fix this, please, fix that, please. I'm sure a lot of people who have ever paid for early AI tools have felt that as well. It's like you're paying a membership to get access to this tool that's not actually valuable yet. You're paying for what the potential of what it can become, but it's not giving you that at that point. But the way technology works is like when there is a problem to be solved and people are putting their minds towards solving that problem with powerful technology, the tech is just a little bit behind. The tech will always improve and eventually get to the point where it's solving the problem for you. So I knew that in my head, and I'm like, okay, I can't really use these tools yet, but I'm going to bookmark a lot of them. And I started to get the sense of like when this wave finally hits us, when this tech hits full scale and really acts as if it is an expert in every field, to the point of what you're seeing with a lot of current day AI tools, I just knew how important it was going to be on top of that from an internal team standpoint. Knowing that, I said, all right, I'm putting a meeting on the calendar for all of our internal BDG employees, and it's going to be an AI meeting, and it's going to be every Friday. And I remember it was so like far-fetched at the time when I sent it out. I think there was like a joke that was like, oh, is Allen Iverson coming into like film trivia with us or film content with us, rather than thinking like, oh, this is about artificial intelligence. Oh, this is about AI. Like that's how removed it really was from our day-to-day workflow. I put that meeting on our calendar last March. That was exactly 1 year ago from today, from right now. That feels like an eternity ago. So the structure of the AI meeting was this. 2 people would come in each week and they would present an AI tool that they found, that they researched, that they've implemented into their life in some fashion. It didn't have to be about work. It didn't have to be about BDG. It didn't have to be about business. It could be about your own personal health. It could be about your own personal finances. It could be about something in your personal life. It didn't matter. I just wanted to know that our team was actively and consciously going out and trying to stay on top of that industry, because I knew how important it was going to be to do that once things really did hit scale. And I knew at the time that there was going to be something, there was going to be one tool, one piece of software, one app that when all this shit clicked was going to be a game changer for us. And that was the reason I put that meeting on the calendar.
Like we're finished.
This meeting is going to be specifically focused on AI. The reason I wanted to have this was because the companies and the brands adopt first coming tools that are really good are going to be the ones that jump very far ahead of everybody. Execution is just not there yet, but in a year from now, it's going to wipe out a ton of the stuff that we actually do. And I want to force people to go out and look for these tools and the software and these websites and these apps prior to them becoming mainstream and popular. Because I think by the time things become mainstream and popular, like everybody else is already using it. So I'd rather have us be on top of it and know what's going on. But I promise you within the next year or so, we're going to find something that's like really game changing for us that nobody else is using. And it's going to speed up every fucking part of our process.
Guys to play out.
Every single employee was required to participate in this meeting, required to present something. So we're probably, I don't know, a few months into this meeting, and like we've come across some cool stuff. I don't know how much of it we've actually implemented into our own workflow. I don't know how much of it has actually like changed the way any of us have worked up to that point. But one day, Joe, some of you guys might know, some of you guys might not know, comes in. He's not a front-facing creator for us. He's doesn't do fantasy sports content. He doesn't do like trivia with us really. He's not a tech guy. He's incredible behind a camera, incredible editor, incredible storyteller. But he had the week prior listened to a Joe Rogan podcast in which Joe Rogan had the CEO of a company, of an emerging AI tech company, on his podcast, and Joe listened to it. And so he decided to present that tool to us. So it's Joe's turn. We're sitting in the meeting. He opens up this web page, you know, and as most AI tools do, it's just this blank prompt box where you just type something in, hit enter, and something magical happens. So we put the mouse into the prompt box, we type in, make a deal or no deal style of trivia game, but inside of each case, instead of money, put a fantasy player. We click enter. We sit there for a little bit. It's doing its thing. It's prompting. It's working. And about 3 minutes later, this fully functioning, beautifully designed deal or no deal game popped onto the screen. It wasn't just an image. It wasn't just a graphic. You were able to click around. You were able to play. It was interactive. When that happened, like the way it looked, the way it functioned, like I felt it in my stomach. This was like legit, like the holy shit moment. In my core, I was like, something just changed. I didn't exactly know what it was. I didn't know if we could just fucking set that out for the public to start playing immediately, but I knew that something just happened. I've been making YouTube videos for over a decade. Like the first one I put live, I think it was in 2014. But since that moment, since that prompt popped up, I have not been able to stop thinking about the direction that software building and product are going. The thesis of this video and what I'm about to get into and what we're going to go a little bit more depth into, creators, brands, anyone positioned with a real brand, with an audience, is set to have such an advantage right now because of how rapidly engineering and tech have just moved over the last 6 months. What this video is not is me telling you to use ChatGPT, telling you how cool that tool is. You could use it for therapy and it could plan your trips and it could do all that. This video is also not my overall existential thoughts about AI, which I obviously have some in terms of like human involvement and the economy and things like that. The majority of this video and what I'm going to be talking about specifically is software, engineering focused, and for the most part, product heavy conversation. But I also want to be clear, like this video can be helpful to it does not have to be just creators. It doesn't have to be just influencers or brands or companies in the media space. Like this can help anyone, from someone high up in a corporate company down to someone who doesn't even have a fucking job right now. You could build out anything at your fingertips that helps you in your day-to-day life or helps you be better at your job. If you have tasks that are repetitive or difficult to solve, no matter what it is, with no tech background, with no coding background, you're able to build tools that solve that shit for you. And if you work in an office and you want to build out a tool that makes you that much better at your job, you can go show your boss and be like, look what I built. And he's going to be blown away by how proactive you are and how smart he thinks you are because this other thing just built this thing for you. Or you could just get really good at your job because of this, and now it frees up a bunch of free time for you to do whatever else you want. This is going to be helpful for content creators, for tools within their content, internal tools for businesses. Like not everything has to be user focused and a product that people are purchasing and very high stakes things. Like it can touch every aspect of your life. And to take a step back, to be a little bit more, I don't know, transparent and I guess vulnerable, it took me a really long time to make this video for 2 reasons. The first is that for the very first time in my life as a creator, I didn't want to share this tool. Like if you followed me and watched any of my content over the years that's not like sports or fantasy related, most of it is about helping people create better content or helping them navigate the creator economy, right? And I try to share as much of the secrets, the tools, the tips that I've found in my experience over the years so that it can help, you know, the younger generation, whoever needs the help. This is the first thing I've come across since I started in the creator economy that I genuinely didn't want to share because of how powerful it was and how I felt that it would set us up for the future. And by us, I mean, you know, BDG, my company, if we took advantage of these tools for the next year or two before it was widespread adoption to the rest of the creators, brands, etc. And never in my life have I created from that mindset or had a lack of creation because of that mindset. I typically love sharing things that I think will help people. That's like my MO for the most part. So I got into making fantasy content because I thought I was good when I was younger and I was like, I want to help people be better at this. I wasn't good at it. I'm probably still not very good at it now, but that's still what I wanted to share. That was reason number 1. It took me a really long time to make this piece of content. The other one I think is a little bit more practical. I try never to make content from a personal standpoint, business, marketing, etc., without having experience in what I'm talking about. I think there's a lot of people on the internet that like to say things or pass off other people's experiences as if they had it or as if they learned the lessons from the thing that this other person went through, and that's content for them. I try never to do that. So this thing that I'm overly passionate about, that I'm overly excited about, that I'm about to like stamp my name on and say like, this is gonna change the world, I needed to be damn fucking sure that that was right. So when I tell you I became obsessed with this shit, not an overstatement, not hyperbole. I've been making YouTube videos for over 10 years, almost daily since I started, right? At the worst minimum, like 2 videos a week. I have not posted a video on my own, like an individual video like this, since December 24th, like quite literally 3 months ago. By far and away the longest gap I've ever had in posting, because I've been so obsessed with this since the minute the fantasy season wrapped up. And when it wrapped up for me, it was that fucking Bijan Robinson 90-yard touchdown run right before half against the Rams, where Jack beat me and your idiot league mates because of it. All we needed to do was have Bijan Robinson not set a career high in fantasy points, and we win, and he did, and we didn't.
93-yard touchdown for Bijan at the end of the second half. I said it last night in the clip.
The narrative of Nick's favorite team, I'm assuming Bijan's probably one of his favorite players on Jack's team, to set up Nick's downfall might be greatest storylines for a fantasy football championship.
Nick could win the chip. Falcons suck.
Since that moment, though, I've been hooked. I got a little introspective with this and tried to figure out why I hadn't had the urge to make the content. And it came down to the fact that when I was younger, I wasn't really good at expressing myself, you know, when I was like 15, 16, 17, whatever, as I think most like high school guys are, right? They want to be whatever, cool and etc. and not have flaws. And I did not like to be vulnerable. I did not like to open up. I mean, to my friends, my family, really no one. But what I found was making videos for me made me really comfortable. And it was my purest form of expression. And it's why I love doing it. It's why I will probably always continue to do it. However, this ability to now express myself in a different way has been so fulfilling. Like, it's the next closest thing I found in terms of fulfillment through expression. And people will say, oh, you're just like typing a sentence in and prompting it. I'm not kidding when I tell you I've put in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of work on these apps. 3 straight months, most days are anywhere between 10 and 15 hours a day working on these things. It's so fun getting my fingers on there and just like navigating every pixel of design, navigating the user journey, navigating what they feel as a user as they're going through this path, and making sure that there's no interruptions or no flaws or no weak points in the design, in the functionality, in the feature of it. Like, that has been so fucking fun for me. And I didn't feel like I needed to be like front facing. I didn't feel like I needed to make videos about it. I'm doing it now because this thing has impacted my life so heavily that I feel like it can help other people. And I've kind of got past the fact that like, oh, let me keep it internal. It's like, it's so good. It's going to get out there anyways. I put in hundreds of hours of work on our new website, which we relaunched on Friday, March 6th. At this point, nearly 4,000 paying monthly / annual users on there. And before I talked about any of this stuff, I wanted to make sure that this thing that changed my life was not a house of cards, was not going to collapse when there was users on it, was not going to have their credit card info leak. I genuinely felt like it was too good to be true, and I did not want to go out in public and talk about it until I'm like, okay, we're weeks into it now and everything is smooth. Like, this shit is real. And I had been making behind the scenes software, internal products to make my content better since, last summer, probably, July, August-ish. And I probably could have shared that, but I was a little bit too in depth of like making content for fantasy football in the NFL season. And now that the offseason hit, I've had a lot more time to like ruminate and work on other projects, obviously. So we launched the website. I don't know a single thing about code. I'm not a software developer by any means, but the tech has gotten so good that it didn't matter. And we've moved to a world where the only limit on what you can produce and what you can build is literally your imagination, man. Like, you can make any change, any function, any feature, as long as you could think it. The tool that I've been referencing up to this point is called Replit, Replit. That was a year ago. This is not a sponsored ad. This is not an advertisement for Replit, though they have my heart and soul. I cannot begin to tell you how unbelievably good and powerful at building fully functional tools, apps, whatever you need. Anything that you've had stored in your mind of like, you quite literally just need to make sure that you speak the language of whatever that tool understands. And by language, I don't mean JavaScript, CSS, CSS or HTML. I mean, quite like fucking English. When I tell you that this tool is like legitimately addicting, it's almost worrisome, to be honest with you. I'm not overstating that. Talk to anyone in your life that is an engineer right now that's using Claude Code, or someone that's just like vibe coding on Replit or any of the, you know, Base 44 or wherever. They'll tell you the same thing. It is genuinely hard to get off of it. I'm using this tool and I'm like, man, how is this thing still kind of like a secret? And I realize, like, when you're on Twitter, you're in this like echo chamber of the same people saying the same things over and over again. And when you step off of Twitter, if you close your laptop or X out of it on your phone, 99.99999% of people in the real world have no idea what you're interested in or the thing that's like popular within your little Twitter sphere. But the tool was so powerful that I started getting really interested in like the usage adaptation among actual professional engineers. My assumption, like, I'm not a tech guy, but I found my way to it, right? And it's improving my life drastically to the point where like every engineer in the world has to be using this nonstop, right? And so I reached out to some of my engineer friends and spoke to some agencies and stuff like that. A lot of very, very well-respected guys that have built like really, really cool tools were like, yeah, I haven't actually manually written a line of code since like November. But they have a lot of friends, engineers that work at corporate companies, and some of these companies have signed exclusive deals with Microsoft Copilot that only allows them to use this particular AI tech, and they're not allowed to use Claude Code or Codex or whatever. So their company just hasn't adopted it. Or if it's a very large scale company, it's taking them a really, really long time to figure out how to adopt this new tech. So I've spent the last 3 months basically nonstop, basically full time. Why this is just so important. This is something I've harped on for years at this point. Like, media plus software, media plus product is like the future of business. And that's an obvious take right now, but I've really been talking about that for the last 5 years. For the first time in our like creator economy life, the product side of things is right there for anyone to use. You don't need tech experience. You don't need coding experience. You just need elite creativity, understanding of the market, understanding of your customers, understanding of your audience, and figuring out what's worth building or what helps you solve a problem that you think will help other people solve that same problem. I also want to say this, like, what I'm saying so far, no coding experience, no tech experience, all that stuff, that will get you 90 to 95% of the way there. At this point in the tech, you absolutely still need some sort of adult in the room to take care of like user auth, security, payments, especially if you are a higher level business or brand where you know you're going to have 5,000 customers off the rip. But if you are a low stakes content creator that's just kind of experimenting with some of these tools, it's right there for the taking. But obviously, if you're running a full scale business where you know on day one, you build something out, you launch it, something goes wrong with payment processing, something goes wrong with security of your website, something goes wrong in that department, and there are 10,000 people on the website, you're going to be in trouble. So this is what I imagine the future of business and product looks like. Individual engineers, whether they're full-time internal or they're freelancers or agencies that are kind of there to just like tie the knot at the end of the rope for creators, brands that almost build themselves internally. So we, as the creators, can build out our vision literally with our hands, be in the trenches, the design of it, the functionality of it, the features of it, and then someone with tech knowledge to tie up the loose end. A lot of that stuff, like the user-facing products, the high scale, like sell a lot of this, make a lot of money type stuff, I think is actually going to be a small portion of why this stuff and these tools are actually super useful. Like, if you actually go back over the last year of our content, I'm talking about fantasy football, trivia stuff, you're going to be hard pressed to find a piece of content that doesn't have a custom piece of software that we built out. We have everyone internally building on Replit. Joe, JMO, Gut, Sexy, like everyone is on this building to make their jobs easier. Like Sexy, as the editor of our trivia TikToks, now creates like a mini app that's tech enabled that basically like plays the trivia game on screen as we're filming so that it cuts out his back end editing and graphic designing time. So it's going to be extremely powerful for making your content significantly better. And then there's like a million really cool internal tools that help your process, that help your life that you can build out. And the speed in which you can make these changes is rapid. It's like, it's near instant at this point. So when I think about like how this will change everything, because it will, I naturally look at the industry that I came up in, right? Fantasy football, sports media. And the very first group of people that I think about are like creators that I've collabed with, creators that I'm friends with. The ones that will benefit the most from this are guys like Josh and Hayden over at the Underdog team, Pete Overzet, Ron Stewart. And I've seen some other people in the industry. Like I know Davis Maddox out there. I see him vibe coding this shit. I see those icons and all the purple that it keeps trying to force into your product. Individual creators who just have a very, very clear desire to be innovative and build tools that match what's in their head. Like when I think of Pete, I think of the randomizer wheel and how easy that would be to build out to Replit and how much cooler he can make that. You no longer need to hire a team of full stack engineers. You no longer need to hire agencies for 6 figures. You no longer need to pay $100 grand to build a website. And to be clear, these tools aren't free. You're paying per token, per request. They typically have a monthly charge, and then however much information and building and features that you need to build out, you'll end up getting charged for it. But as long as you're not using like the highest power models that they have, it won't be that expensive. Up until this point, the only people that were able to take advantage of building great software products or tools or whatever were people that had a lot of money to invest in that side of things, or people that came through with a tech background. Like I think of guys over at Keep Trade Cut. I think of guys at Fantasy Calc. Like all of them have dev, engineer, data engineering background. I know Mason over at Flock, like he has a full-time team of engineers building his tech product out. You think of the ESPNs of the world. You think of the fantasy footballers who came from a tech background, but also have a team of engineers. And don't get me wrong, engineers are still very, very, very valuable. And I would say the most creative ones will probably be the ones that actually benefit the most from this like rapid influx of tech advancement, because they're able to foundationally build something from the start that they know is going to be sound all the way through the process. And now Claude Code or whatever, building out this code in rapid time gets them there 10 times, 20 times, 30 times faster than they would have done it manually. But the fact of the matter is this, and I mean this with no disrespect, I could build a surprisingly functional version of something like Keep Trade Cut in a few days. And just thinking about all this stuff, it kind of took me down a path of like, where does this leave us? Where does it take everyone? Engineers, creatives, creators, companies, brands. And it comes back to something I've believed in for so long, and that the only thing left at the end of the day is your personal brand or the brand that you've built for your brand or your company. People who have influence, people who have large followings online have that direct path to the consumer. Like right now, my entire Twitter feed for you is all like AI this, AI building this, tech products this, tech products that. And it's a bunch of people who are not creators, who are not people with distribution, who are building and launching really cool tools, but it's just going into a black hole. The media brands that have reach and distribution that end up creating great software are going to win. Now that it's become easier and less expensive to create powerful, deep software, everyone is going to do it. And so if everyone has this thing, what's the other thing in the equation? It's the distribution. People who build great tech that don't have an audience or don't have a brand stand no fucking chance. And I think that was always going to be the path where this kind of divulged and came to an end, but the tech had never really been there. Up to this point, the barrier of entry for creators, mid-sized creators, was so overwhelming to either learn it yourself or hire someone that was really fucking expensive to do it for you. This is coming from someone who over the last 5 years has personally spent and invested probably $750,000 into this side of business. It's just the only path that logically makes any sense. If you're a creator and you happen to come across a really cool piece of software or an app or whatever, but it has absolutely zero reach, you now have the ability to recreate it, put your own spin on it, and have it out to the public in days. If you're an investor, right? If you're an investor and now you can choose between a great tech team with zero distribution, great product, zero distribution, or someone that does have a huge brand, someone that does have a massive audience, and now they could build 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 products quickly, the choice is already made for you. And the other underlying advantage to being, a creator or being someone who really gets their hands dirty in content and like having an audience and being able to speak to them and understand them and reading the comments, you kind of know exactly what the industry needs. You know exactly what your audience wants. You don't have to search for years and spend a ton of money on trying to find product market fit. You get instant feedback on your products all the time, on your videos all the time, on everything all the time. Where again, if you have no reach, no brand, no distribution, like I see companies that have built out a product that are spending money on paid ads just to get beta tester users on their platform so that they can get feedback for them. The number one advantage of building a business through content or media is the network of your audience. You hire from there. You get feedback from there. You get beta testers from there. That's what we did for our site. Before it launched, we let about 10 to 15 of them on there for about 5 days, let them fuck it up, find every single bug, find everything they found wrong with it, and we were able to just fix it on the back end after that. They're passionate. They want to find the problems for you. They want to be part of the journey. So I don't know what overall, I guess the point of this was, but felt like I needed to talk about it a little bit because I've been so head down and passionate about it for the last few months. This is a game-changing type of technology that you don't have to wait for the future for it to come. Like it's here right now, right here. If you are a creator or brand or anyone at any point over the last few years that is felt held back by the pace and the speed of building or the price of building, that moat is almost completely gone and will almost entirely be very soon. You can start building today, right now. It is the most exciting time ever to be alive. I have not felt this fired up since I started making content in 2015. I'm telling you, like, I have not felt this way in a very, very long time. You know, at the end of the day, you cannot slow down the rate or the pace of change. And if you're a part of that change and you embrace it, at least you can have a say in how that change impacts society. You're going to have many, many people and brands who virtue signal over the next year or two about this and about that and about how, you know, all of a sudden they're environmental specialists, right? It's like, it's so bad for the environment. Let me search your Twitter history and see if you've ever once commented on the environment before this. You ask them what they do for a living, it is one of the things being directly impacted by AI right now. So they're scared. There's a lot of people that are very scared that are going to be virtue signaling over the next 2 years. It's a deflection and I have sympathy for it. However, there is a difference between being a victim and living with a victim mindset. Two different things. Most people are victims to this, to that, the other thing. If you choose not to live with a victim mindset, you're going to accomplish things. Rather than doing that, embrace what is coming. We're so early in learning about it that if you took the next 20 hours to research all new tools that could possibly impact your workflow, you're going to be ahead of 99% of the general public right now. I hope this video gets people out there to do shit and build cool shit. And it really is fucking exciting, man. And if anyone needs direction or any sort of help with anything, getting started, where they want to start building, etc., you can comment down below. You can DM me, you know, I'm on Twitter at Nick Ercolano, same thing on Instagram. But yeah, man, go check out our site, bge.co. But if you end up building something soon or you have already, send it my way. I'd love to get feedback on it. I'd love to see what you've done. All right, I'm out of here. I love y'all.